Hey guys, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about what I consider to be one of the trickiest skin types out there, and that is combination skin. You know, it's super common, but it is a very tricky one to balance out on your skin because I feel like combination skin just always keeps you on your toes with two separate areas on your face that are doing two very different things. It can be very difficult to keep up with the oil and the dryness at the same time. Now, combination skin is my true skin type. You know, I talk lots about dehydration and dryness, but I do have an oily T-zone and a dry U-zone, so I definitely feel the pain in trying to keep that in harmony and balanced, which is why I wanted to make this video with what I'm going to call my 3 golden rules for combination skin. I mean, you can really just think about them as 3 super solid pieces of advice to kind of always keep in the back of your mind when you're treating your combination skin. So if you guys are so ready to get the video started, you know the drill. Give it a big thumbs up and let's get started. Alright, so before we jump deep into the video, I want to let you guys know that portions of this video are sponsored by the Korean skincare brand Access Y. Now, not the entire video is sponsored, but you will see some of their products throughout the video, and I just want to let you know those portions are sponsored. So let's talk about combination skin because, you know, the point I made at the beginning of the video about, you know, 2 different areas on your face doing 2 very different things is really the mindset you want to get into, because you don't want to relate to like your face as one area as we are kind of trained to do, right? You do want to start thinking about it in 2 separate zones. Usually the distribution is between your T-zone, which is your forehead and your nose area. It can sometimes sort of flutter out to like this kind of around your nose area as well. I know I personally get some oil around my nose. And then a U-zone area, which is your chin and your cheeks. So this area right here. Traditionally, it's an oily T-zone and a dry U-zone, but it 100% can be a dry T-zone and an oily U-zone. So my first tip for you is don't be afraid to use different products in different zones of your face. You know, don't feel like when you use one product, you got to put it all over this face. Really start thinking in those zones. And one way that is really great for me to treat my combination skin and really got me into thinking about my skin in 2 separate zones is multi-masking. This is really great because this is a fantastic way to really target what you need in those specific areas. So really my classic choice for doing this is to use the Isntree Real Mugwort Clay Mask in my oily T-zone area. This mask is great because it sops up all the like extra juice, all the extra oil, all the extra sebum, and it actually has a really nice clarifying effect for my pores too, because it does seem to help kind of suck up some of the extra gunkiness and the dirt and the debris, and the really cuts down on the congestion and the texture. But you know, the thing is, a clay mask that sops up lots of oil, right, is not an ideal choice for the dry areas of my face. Oh, that would send my face on fire, right? So I don't put the clay mask there. Instead, I use a different product that is more targeted towards my drier areas. So I really like the I'm From Mugwort Wash Off Mask. This is one of my favorite combinations of wash off masks because the I'm From mask really is a nice hydrating gel type texture. So it feels really hydrating, soothing, calming on that dry area. When my skin gets overly dry, it tends to feel very irritated and itchy, so this has that additional benefit of really calming that down on my skin. And I love it because both of these masks have about the same masking time. They're both wash off products, so they actually work together in harmony really beautifully. And you know, no part of my face has to suffer with a mask that just doesn't quite target its needs. Now, I know I've said it before, but right behind sunscreen, I think that moisturizer is really one of the hardest skincare products to get just absolutely right. I mean, it is a fundamental part of your skincare routine, but it can be tricky. And you know, when you do have combination skin, I think that just complicates matters, because oftentimes, especially if your combination skin is a little bit more severe, like your super oily or you're super dry or both, right? That can definitely make things difficult because the type of cream that would work for your dry areas is totally going to overwhelm your oily areas, potentially leading to more congestion on your skin, right? Or even making you look a lot more shiny than you're comfortable with. Feel free to maybe experiment with using 2 separate moisturizers for the different areas. And that's why this next product I'm really excited to talk about, because I think this is a really genius idea. And I want to just mention it again. The products from Access Y are sponsored in this video. So I picked out from them the Cera-Heart My Type Duo Cream because this concept is like, I think this is so freaking cool. So this is one moisturizer tub, but with 2 different moisturizers inside. Okay, so here inside you see the 2 separate creams here. This blue one, this is the one for your oily areas. And I love the texture of this because this is a really pleasing gel texture with so much hydration. Wow, it's almost like a water bomb. It feels amazing on the skin. It absorbs in the skin really quickly and it dries down matte to neutral. There's absolutely no shine to this. There's no like glass skin look to this. That's why I think it's really appropriate for oily skin while still giving all that balancing hydration. You know, ingredients wise, we've got centella, licorice root, and one of my favorite ingredients, H. cordata extract, which is a really beautiful, soothing ingredient with really wonderful anti-inflammation benefits, which is good if your oily areas especially come with some inflamed pimples or acne, right? Or some redness. This is a really nice kind of ingredient combination to soothe oily skin and also help balance it out. I find the texture to be incredibly pleasing. So the white cream is for your drier areas on your face. And I actually really like this cream too because it's not overly rich. I would say it has like a medium, like a light medium kind of feel on the skin. It's really not a heavy cream at all. It's got a really beautiful breathability to it while still packing in a good moisturization without greasiness. It absorbs really quickly into the skin. And again, this is one that doesn't leave you shiny at the top of your skin, which I think is a really nice complement to the gel cream. So it's not something that's going to make you feel kind of greasy on the top of your skin. The occlusivity of this cream is very nice too. It's still breathable, but it's enough occlusivity that fights dehydration and transepidermal water loss. Something else I suffer with is like making my skin like super complicated, but especially in my drier areas, I can get a lot of dehydration. So having a cream that has enough occlusivity to fight that is key. But again, I like to have something that's not going to make me super shiny at the top. And I mean, like I said, I really think that they paired both of these creams and the textures together really, really well. So my number 2 tip for you guys is don't feel like you need to strip the oil off of your skin. You do not need to annihilate oil. I know how frustrating it can be. I know, like, if you wear makeup, I know it gets in the way. It makes your makeup look real crappy in the middle of the day, all patchy and slidey all over your face. I know what the feeling is like to wake up in the morning and have this, like, thick, what feels like, it's not even oil, but it feels like sludge, like a shell of sludge on your face that you just have to work through with your cleanser to get it off of your face. I know that oil is no joke. I do. When you strip the oil off of your skin in a harsh manner, you know there is moisture that you need on your skin, essential moisture, not excess oil, but essential moisture. And those products that are super harsh that do remove the oil right away do tend to take the essential moisture that you need to keep your skin in balance. When your skin is imbalanced, it tends to, you know, really try to help itself out and overcompensate for what it's lost by producing more oil. It's a real vicious cycle. You know, you get oily, you strip your skin of oil, and then your skin makes more oil, and you're right back where you started, and you just keep going in this awful circle. You gotta break the cycle. So even though it may not feel as like instant gratification, going a little bit more gentle on your skin and really kind of aiming for balance rather than oil elimination is going to actually help your skin to produce less oil in the long run. We're going to play the long game here. Now, I definitely do suggest staying away from products that contain drying forms of alcohols, but I think one of the easiest switches you can make in your skincare routine is with your cleanser, because cleansers that feel really satisfying on the skin and really work through that shell of sludge, sebum sludge, do tend to be very harsh and they do tend to take a lot of essential moisture with them, stripping your skin and forcing it to produce more oil. So I do suggest looking for a cleanser that has a pH of 5.5. This is one of the first kind of ways that you can ensure that your cleanser is going to be a little bit more gentle on your skin. It is respecting your skin's natural pH level. It naturally wants to sit at about 5.5, but a lot of harsh cleansers can actually raise your skin's pH level to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, that's not great, because you're really going to open your skin up to a lot of yuckies like bacteria, inflammation, acne. We don't need it, right? We just want to kind of preserve our skin's natural being, and that is going to help it to not produce so much oil. Not all low pH cleansers are made the same, in my opinion. There's a whole wide variety of textures out there, and you can still find a cleanser that is going to get in there and clean your skin effectively, and that's where this next product comes in. So this is from Access Y. It's their Sunday Morning Refreshing Cleansing Foam, and I'm a really big fan of this. So it is a low pH cleanser. It does come in right at 5.5, but it's got a really satisfying clean to it. It's got a nice foam to it. I mean, it is pretty low foam. You're not going to get like tons of bubbles with this one, but you're going to get a nice creamy foam to this. It really envelops your skin. It's not like some cleansers. Sometimes it feels like it doesn't spread really well, or that it's really kind of getting in there. This feels like it's getting in there. Like I said, it really envelops your face. It really kind of cleans every single corner. You don't feel that like, did I clean my skin kind of concern when you rinse it away. You know what I mean? There's some cleansers where you're like, I'm not sure that this really did what it needed to do. This does what it needs to do. It gets in there. It really leaves your skin satisfyingly clean without a squeak, without a stripped feeling, without like a, my skin is drying out, I need my first layer of skincare kind of feel. Like it's just really that right balance. Like they just really struck the balance on this one perfectly. Satisfying clean without stripping the skin. Like I said, cleanser can be one of the easiest ways and one of the easiest products to switch out in your skincare routine that is going to be a lot more respectful to your skin and really going to help your skin balance itself out without forcing it to produce more oil. My third piece of advice for you is to follow the seasons. I think one of the reasons why combination skin can be so tricky is because it's always changing. It really can be. This is one of the skin types that can be a little bit more sensitive to seasonal changes and weather changes, environmental changes. All skin can be, by the way. If you're watching this and you're not quite combination skin, this advice actually will still apply to you. Where I live, it's a very true 4 seasons climate. In the summertime, it gets quite hot and very humid, and that actually makes my oily zone go crazy. I can produce lots and lots of oil in the summertime. My dry area just really kind of like, it's still a little dry, definitely, but it just kind of like is in the background of my mind because the oil is definitely my number one concern in the summertime. And it's definitely the very opposite in the wintertime. It can get quite cold and quite dry here, and it just flips. That dry area gets so freaking dry, and the oil definitely a lot less production. That it's just really not my main concern in the winter time. Now, spring and fall are very interesting seasons. They're very like weird bumper seasons where you can have warm days, cool nights, cool days, cooler nights. Like it's just weird. It can get rainy. Sometimes it can still snow. Like that is when the weather is very unpredictable, and then so is my skin. Skin doesn't know what it wants to do in the spring and fall. It's always kind of going woo, woo, woo. Tune in to your skin and pay attention and be mindful and really kind of start to make the connections between what is going on in the environment around you and the weather around you and how your skin might be changing and fluctuating with that, because our skin is not static. It doesn't stay the same. It's ever changing. I do have some seasonal kind of quick tips for you though. So if you're kind of experiencing more oil, your oily zones are kind of starting to get a little bit out of control. Traditionally that would be in warmer or more humid weather. One of my number one tips for you is to keep your skincare layers light. I probably don't need to tell you this twice because you know what feels good on your skin. I do tend to rely really heavily on toners to do a lot of the heavy lifting in my skincare routines, especially in the summertime. Instead of having lots of essences and serums and lots of different layers, I like to get a lot of my replenishment from toner, keeping my skincare layers super, super light. So I love a toner that's really, really watery, quickly absorbed, that does not build up on the skin. One of my favorite, my newer favorite ones is the Cosrx Cica toner. This stuff is super great because not only is it amazing for when you're feeling a little bit more oily because it's still so light and breathable, this has a real deep replenishing feel that is actually still really suitable for drier areas on your face, and it's got a really nice calming ability to it because it's got a high percentage of centella. I would suggest maybe trying to switch to a mineral sunscreen if you're not using one already, because mineral sunscreens do have a natural ability to help control excessive oil. They have a natural mattifying effect on the skin. So this could be kind of a 2-for-1. You're getting your sun protection and a little bit of mattifying all at the same time. So this is also from Access Y, the sponsor of today's video. This is their complete no stress physical sunscreen. Now this uses 10% of zinc oxide, 6% of titanium dioxide, and 2% of niacinamide. And what really impressed me about this sunscreen, and this is something that you'll hear me say a lot about mineral sunscreens, it's the texture, because a lot of mineral sunscreens have a disgusting texture in my opinion. I don't know, I just have these memories of really yucky mineral sunscreens that are super thick. They feel kind of dry and chalky on the skin. They're really hard to spread effectively on your skin. They take forever to dry down, and they're just kind of messy and just clunky, and they're not fun. They don't have a nice texture. This has a really nice texture that I just don't always come across. So it's got a really nice silky feel to it. It spreads gorgeously onto the skin, which is really important with sunscreen. The spread's got to be really good because you want to get a real nice continuous even film on your skin to get all the sun protection. So spread is super important, and this has really great spread. It absorbs in the skin really nicely, and it has a very short dry time. Again, another important thing, you don't want to disturb that film as it's settling in and kind of creating that bond right on your skin. So this has a really nice, easy to use texture. I don't feel like I have to just kind of keep sitting there trying to rub it into my skin. This just feels really easy to use. There is a white cast. I mean, you can't get away with it with mineral sunscreen. So definitely darker skin tones, proceed with caution. You guys know this already, right? On my skin tone, it's noticeable. It's kind of like a tone-up cream. You can get away with it for sure. It's not bothersome, especially with such a nice texture to it, but definitely take that into consideration. This definitely helps to cut down on greasiness, though it will definitely mattify your super oily areas. I don't find this one to be super duper drying either, which is why I am recommending it for combination skin. But definitely, sunscreen, as I mentioned before, is a really individual thing. So you may have to kiss some frogs before you find your prince, so to speak. A little bit of trial and error is always going to be necessary, but this could be one to consider, especially if you are worried about looking like a disco ball in the middle of the afternoon. Now let's talk about winter, drier seasons, colder seasons, or whenever your combination skin is getting just way more dry, right? When your skin is like, I don't really care about my oil, but I really care about my dry, flaky, patchy skin. So this is going to be the tip section for you. So the number one thing I would say is sleep with a humidifier, especially if you're in an environment that's very dry. And you can get into a really dry environment just by having the heating, like all that forced air in your house. Even air conditioning can actually create a dry environment. So having a humidifier that you can turn on when needed is actually a really great skin tip for everybody, but it can definitely be a really good one for combination skin, because both areas of your face will actually benefit from the extra humidity in the air. Another tip that I always recommend for skin that is maybe a little bit more dry or even dehydrated is try a facial oil. Like, experiment. So many of us are taught to like shy away from oils. I know I was. Once I first started trying facial oils, I have not looked back, because they do make a huge difference, especially if you do suffer with dryness anywhere on your face. And one of the facial oils that I think is the safest one to experiment with oily areas on your face, and just generally one of the most pleasing ones to add into your skincare routine, is Squalane oil. It is skin identical. It's fungal acne safe. It's great for oily skin. It's great for acne prone skin. It's great for dry skin, combination skin. You see where I'm going with this one? It is just all around a great oil that will suit pretty much anybody. And it's really an affordable oil that you can find in lots of different places. It's got a really light, runny texture that absorbs in the skin really quickly. This is not a thick oil. You know, just a few drops of this can really make a huge difference in your dry areas. It can really help to solve dry patches without being really thick on your skin. It's safe to put in your oily areas, but again, feel free to just put it where you need it. So this can definitely be a lifesaver when you are going through periods of skin that it's feeling way more drier than usual. This can help you bounce back a lot quicker. So I hope you guys found those 3 tips to be helpful, and a big thank you to Access Y for sponsoring portions of today's video. If you want to learn more about the products from all of the brands that we talked about today, I do have all the links and info in the description box, so you guys can check that out. And I'm curious to know, what is your skin type? And I'm definitely curious to know if you watched this whole video and you don't have combination skin. I think actually there's some good tips in here for all skin types, definitely. So let me know your skin type and tell me what's like one product or like tip or technique that has really made the biggest difference for you. You know, for me, I have combination skin that's quite sensitive, and switching over to a low pH cleanser made a huge difference for my skin. Now, if you're not subscribed to my channel, but you enjoyed this video, maybe there were some helpful hints in here for you, please do consider hitting subscribe before you go. I release 2 new skincare focused videos every single week. Turn on notifications and then you'll never miss out when I post the new videos. I hope you guys are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in this absolutely crazy world, right? I really can't wait to see you guys in the next video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.